السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرادك. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So yesterday we were discussing the condition for acting and practicing upon Qawl Wahid is that it must not contradict or outwardly apparently contradict an ayat of Quran or a hadith mashhur. We gave a few examples of where it seems outwardly that Qawl Wahid is going against some principle of the Quran. Now obviously, like we said yesterday, we must keep in mind that this will just be one of the reasons, because why the Ahnaf would not have practiced upon a particular hadith or would have preferred one dalil over another. It's not a whole argument. There will be many arguments for and against concerning a particular masala. That's just one of the reasons why the Ahnaf might not take dalil from a particular hadith. And I also want to emphasize, going a bit further back, about what I just mentioned about Sayyidina Abu Hurairah. It's very important to keep in mind. I must emphasize this. As Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, we don't go against the hadith because it was narrated by Sayyidina Abu Hurairah. And some of the hadith that also quoted there is a Sahih hadith coming in Muslim and so forth. So we have to be very careful and make a note if possible, because that can lead to great fitna. People will then start saying, oh, we can throw out all the hadith of Sayyidina Abu Hurairah. Whereas Sayyidina Abu Hurairah has narrated the most hadith. All the Sahaba has narrated the most hadith. So that will lead to a great amount of fitna. So just keep that in mind. There are reasons why the Ahnaf did not take those particular hadith or did not practice upon it, but we don't reject it, and definitely not because the narrator is Sayyidina Abu Hurairah. Anyway, to continue today's lesson, so now he's giving an example of where it compared it. We do a comparison with the Qabr al-Mashhur. ومثال عرض على القبر المشهور رواية القضاء بشاهد ويمين. And the example of comparing it or presenting it upon a Qabr al-Mashhur is the narration with regards to qada, deciding in a dispute with one witness and a oath. فإنه خرج مخالفا لقول عليه الصلاة والسلام. Why? Because this qabr wahid outwardly seems to contradict the statement of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, البينة على المدعي واليمين على من أنكره. If you have a dispute, one person is claiming something against another, then the claimant, the person making the claim, the onus is on him, the responsibility is upon that person, the mudda'i we call it. He must present two witnesses to back up his claim. And if he cannot present two witnesses, there was no receipt, there was no witnesses at that time, he can't show any kind of proof that this person owes him money for particular goods or whatever. And in that case, the person against whom the case is being launched or lodged, the defendants, and so the complainant must bring two witnesses. If he doesn't have whatever reason, then the defendant must take an oath. That is not the case. If he takes an oath, then we will accept it, and judgment will be passed according to that. This is what this hadith says, the hadith mashhur. Al-bayyinatu ala al-mudda'i. That the onus of proof, the responsibility for proving the case is upon the mudda'i, the claimant. Wal-yaminu ala man ankara. And taking an oath is the responsibility of the person rejecting the claim. And the defendant, in other words. So this hadith where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam passed judgment, where the person only had one witness, it is said, and so Nabi Sallallahu told him, okay, you can take an oath in place of the second witness. Okay, so it seems to go against this Qabr al-Mashhur. So we will give preference to the Qabr al-Mashhur over this, where it is said that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam um, say that if a person only has one witness, then he can take an oath in place in the absence of the second witness. Okay, so
Egypt.
so this is one example. And again, obviously, the Ahnaf have answers for that particular hadith, or they make some ta'wil or explain why that hadith is actually not contradicting each other and so forth. They try to reconcile between the two hadith and so forth. That is not, but anyway, we will not go into that discussion here. The main thing is here that Qabl Mashhur, we have a Qabl Mashhur on the one side, Qabl Ahad on the other side, so we have to give preference to Qabl Mashhur because the strength of the Dalil is strong. And again, Mashhur, according to us, is a hadith which became very, very popular, well-known, or the Ummah accepted it, the entire Ummah accepted that hadith, especially after the first era. G. وباعتبار هذا المعنى, so keeping this in mind, we say قلنا قبل الواحد إذا خرج مخالفا للظاهر. That if and this is now with regards to, if a قبل الواحد إذا خرج مخالفا للظاهر, if it emerges to be, or it comes out to be contrary to what is apparent, لا يؤمن به, will not act upon it. And ومن صور مخالفة الظاهر عدم الاشتعال الخبر فيما يعم بلغة في سد الأول. So one was that if it goes contrary to Quran and Hadith, Quran or Hadith مشهور. Another example where we won't act upon the Qabl al-Wahid, or we will try to give some explanation of the Qabl al-Wahid, is where it goes against and contradicts what is apparent. What do we mean by that? Let's say, for example, عدم اشتعال الخبر فيما يعم بالغلط, where the hadith is not popular, and the non-popularity, عدم اشتعال, the non-popularity of the hadith in those situations, فيما, in those situations that is common, practice amongst the people. فيما يعم بالغلط. That's how you translate. It's other than in the first era, والثاني in the second era, meaning the Sahabas, time and the Tabi'un. So what is ma ya'mu bil balwa? It means it refers to those conditions or those situations that is recurring all the time. For example, business deals recurring all the time, every day, at almost every hour, almost every half an hour, and so on and so forth. Matters related to taharat, which is common. Matters related to salah and stuff, which is common. So obviously, if something is commonly taking place, definitely, and is a hadith that is related to that, then most certainly it would have been very popular amongst the Sahaba and the Tabi'un. Why? Because this is a matter that is happening every day. This is a matter that is commonplace in the society. So it's impossible that we have a Qabl Wahid, meaning that only one or two people narrated it, nobody else. And yet, it is a matter that is very commonplace. And we find that the Sahaba themselves apply this rule. For example, when one lady, Fatima Maghzoum, forget the name now, radiallahu anha, she said that the Nabi ruled that when she was in Iddah, the Nabi didn't allow her nafaqah and sukna. So now, obviously, this is something that is very commonplace, divorce. And if that was the case, and it would have been known, so say, no, told her, no, we don't accept your word. Do not accept your word and leave aside the Quran. Understand? Maybe you made a mistake, maybe you forgot in the circumstances, and so on and so forth. So in any matter in which there is a common occurrence of the particular thing, meaning that that is something that people are engaged in all the time. And obviously they will be in need of such a hadith, they will be in need of such instruction, but yet one or two people only know the hadith. Nobody else has narrated the hadith. So that also is an indication that this perhaps is something carrying on here. The context we haven't understood, or the Rawi didn't narrate it correctly, or whatever the case was. Understand? But it can't be that it was unknown, and yet it's such a common issue. Okay. لأنهم لا يتهمون بالتقصير في متابعة السنة. Why? Because the first two errors, the Sahaba and the Tabi'un, they can never be accused of being deficient in following the Sunnah. That you have a Khabr al-Wahid here and they didn't know about it, they didn't follow that, and an everyday matter can't be possible. فإذا لم يشتري خبره مع شدة الحاجة وعموم البلوى كان ذلك علامة عدم الصحة. Listen, but if that خبر الواحد did not become popular or famous despite the great need for it and despite عموم البلوى, despite commonplace or common practice, then that is a sign of that خبر الواحد perhaps being unauthentic or incorrect. ومثاله في الحكميات, there is examples from the hadith, but is given examples in the Sharia. Okay, this is also the principle in our Sharia, in our أحكام al-Sharia, where خبر الواحد can be rejected if it is something which that should have been well known but isn't. إذا أخبر واحد أن امرأته حرمت عليه برضاء الطاري جاز أن يعتمد على خبره ويتزوج أختها. For example, if somebody comes forward, a lady comes forward and she says that your wife has become haram upon you because of a recent feeding and because of a recent suckling. This is obviously now if a person got married to such a young girl that she's still in a suckling infancy. Understand? And then somebody came and tell you, know what, you can't, this wife of yours has now become haram upon you because your mother, for example, breastfed her. Instead of telling the husband. So she's become like your foster sister. So جاز أن يعتمد على خبره, to be permissible for him to rely upon that information. Why? Because this doesn't contradict what is apparent. ويتزوج أختها, and he can then get married to the sister, the lady sister. ولو أخبر أن العقد كان باطلا بحكم رضاع لا يقبل خبره. However, if he was to be informed that the nikah transaction has become invalid because of rada'ah, meaning when they were children, and so he got married to a woman his age or just younger than him, and after getting married to her, a lady comes forward and says, you know what, I suckled both of you when you were small. I suckled you and your wife when you were small. So you won't accept it. He doesn't have to accept that. Why? Because if that was the case, nobody told him about it before then. All the years before they got married, nobody told them about it. When the nikah was announced, nobody said anything. Because this is something that should have been very well known. This is something which is even very, very popular, especially in those days. They used to keep a record and stuff, all these things. But the fact that the lady is suddenly coming out now and she's claiming this, he doesn't have to rely upon that. If I don't know why, because this seems to contradict the
जी
lie. It's what is obvious. وكذلك إذا أخبرت المرأة بموت زوجها أو طلاقه إياه وهو غائب جاز أن تعتمد على خبره وتتزوج بغيره. And similarly, if a woman has been informed that her husband has passed away or that her husband has given her divorce while his absent is not there, it is permissible for her to rely upon that khabar. Why? Because it's possible that this could happen. It is possible that this could have happened. The husband's gone in jihad, or the husband has been gone for a long time. No news has reached her about him. He hasn't sent any letters or nothing. And so she can rely upon that information. If somebody coming inform me, because it does seem to be in conformity to what is apparent. Whether التزوج بغيره, and then she can go and get married to somebody else. There might obviously be some other conditions around this that the court must declare to be in iddat and so forth. Allah alam. And it has this that you can do in fiqh. So there might be some other shurut before she can get married to the next person. ولو اشتبهت عليه القبلة أو اشتبهت عليه القبلة فأخبر واحد عنها وجب العمل به. And similarly, if the qibla has become confused or unknown, unspecified to a person, in a particular time you start to the garage, you don't know where the qibla is. There's no sign, there's no stickers, there's no mihrab, nothing. And one person فأخبر واحد عنها, one person told you, now the qibla is in this direction. Then wajib al-amal bi is wajib to act according to that. You can't say, oh, you're just one person, I need backup, I need to be sure. So one person is sufficient in such an instance. ولو وجد ماء لا يعلم حاله, And if a person found another example, person finds water, he doesn't know the state of the water. Is it clean water, dirty water? Obviously, there's nothing apparent there. He can't see najasat in the water. It looks fine to his eyesight because there's nothing apparently dirty. فأخبر واحد عن النجاسة. However, one person told him that this water you can't use. Not clean water, it's najis water, impure water. لا يتوضأ به فيتمامه. So you can rely upon that one person's information. And you will not make wudu with that water, but you can make tayammum. Okay?
जी
Obviously, there's no other water around. So you understood all that?
जी जी मौलाना.
Can we continue or stop there and we'll finish it tomorrow?
Okay,
Tomorrow we can
stop
finish it
there.
tomorrow, inshallah.
Tomorrow, okay. So now the question arises, okay, what is the ruling? Is there any qaida? How do we know when to accept or in which instances to accept the qabl wahid? Like we talk about this last one, like in which instances can we accept a qabl wahid or not? Like for salah, and that we just did now, you can accept a qabl wahid. So is that like a general rule for anything? All matters of deen we can accept a qabl wahid? Or is there some kind of guiding principles to tell us which instances can we accept the qabl wahid is sufficient, and when the qabl wahid will not be? Yeah, by qabl wahid, we mean the information of one person. Otherwise, remember, qabl wahid can mean 2, 3, 4 people. So by qabl wahid, yeah, we mean one person. Is one person's news and information sufficient or not? So that, inshallah, will be discussed in the last fasal. What are those instances? You're going to mention 4 instances where the qabl wahid can be accepted and when they cannot. And by the way, not in that fasal, we're just going to discuss the 4 instances when it can be accepted, and by the way, 1 or 2 other instances where it won't be accepted will also be automatically included, inshallah. Okay, any questions, anything you didn't understand?
So far, so good, man.
Okay, so inshallah, hopefully we can finish that tomorrow. That'll make it easy, inshallah. Jazakallah for being so diligent throughout the time and for sacrificing your time, mashallah. All of you, inshallah. And accept you for the khidmat of deen, inshallah, with ikhlas and istiqamat, inshallah, to take you from strength to strength, inshallah. Dunya qabl and akhirah, inshallah. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.